Happy 4th of July. Tonight we celebrate our nation's independence with a series opener between the reigning WPF champion Texas Smoke against the Hub City Adelitas. So before the fireworks, sit back and enjoy Game 1 of this 4-game series on a hot summer night from San Marcos, Texas. On the official WPF YouTube channel, Brant Freeman alongside Bill Colhane. Bill, happy July 4th. Looking forward to how this series starts off between the Smoke and the Adelitas.
Hey, I'd like to echo that, Brant. Happy Independence Day to everybody. And speaking of fireworks and coming in hot, the Smoke coming off a sweep at Coastal Bend last weekend, averaged 7.5 runs per game. Meanwhile, Hub City struggled here last weekend against the Monarchs, getting swept in the 4-game set here in San Marcos.
In the circle tonight for the Texas Smoke is Samantha Shao. Samantha Shao has pitched really well in this ballpark opening week. Shao for the Smoke in a couple of appearances against the Texas Monarchs. 16 innings worked, 11 strikeouts, gave up just 2 earned runs, and got a couple of wins along the way. Now we'll look at the Adelitas batting lineup, which again is led off by Sierra Bryan, who hit really well here last week in their series against the Monarchs.
Yeah, in a series in which the Adelitas struggled, Sierra Bryan 4 for 4 in game 2 of that series, 2 for 3 in game 3. The issue that Hub City had last weekend is they couldn't string together things, right? They'd get a runner on, they'd get a couple of hits, get a walk and a hit, but just couldn't come up with the big hit. They're going to have to do that this weekend if they want to win some ball games.
So the rest of the batting order for the Adelitas, against Sierra Bryan leading things off, we'll also see Destiny Brown and Daisy Munoz here in the top of the first inning. Middle third of the order, hitters 4 through 6, Peyton Lopez, McKenna Brocky, and Casey Flores. The bottom third of the order, hitters 7, 8, and 9, Emily Bracamonte, Justice Perry, and Adriana Ramirez. The Smoke commit a record of 7-1, best record of the league, a 2-game lead for first place over the Texas Monarchs. Meanwhile, the Adelitas 2-6. They are tied for third right now with Coastal Bend.
And I imagine the Smoke, as they put together their scouting report, their plan for this weekend, just like everybody, the idea is to keep Bryan and Brown off the base paths.
And the first pitch is grounded. It's a foul ball. Bryan keeps running to second base, but she's going to have to come back. So one pitch in, and Bryan's going to have to jog all the way back to first after a ball that was nearly fair, but again, just pushed foul.
Yeah, you saw Espinoza, the first baseman, attack the ball as you're supposed to do, and with this backspin of that ball, it was in foul territory. You see our home plate umpire did a nice job. Lyndon Baptiste had a good look at it.
So the Adelitas got swept by the expansion Texas Monarchs last week. But a tough stretch with this team. After winning in walk-off fashion on opening day, they've since dropped 6 of 7. That ball is popped up right to Maddie Grimm. And what a way for Shao here in the top of the first inning.
Shao, we've already seen it in this game. We saw it in person a couple of weeks ago. She will pound the strike zone. She has some velo, but maybe her biggest skill is, again, she's going to throw strikes. Hub City, they're going to have to put balls in play.
Now to the plate, Destiny Brown. And take strike one. You look back at this series for the Adelitas against the Monarchs, and the issue was the offense. Got shut out twice in that series, held to just 1 run over the final 14 innings in the losses Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, and it wasn't for lack of runners. It wasn't necessarily for lack of runners in scoring position. It's what I've already said. You know, when the Adelitas got runners on, they just couldn't find that hit. Lost the game 4, the series finale 2-0, just as one example.
Almost got a piece of Brown. Pitch inside, counts 2-1. Yeah, the Adelitas got run ruled by the Monarchs in the opener on Thursday, but the next 3 games, all really competitive. All 3 decided by 2 runs or less.
Yeah, again, Exhibit A, what I'm talking about in terms of run production. Destiny Brown, a 3-game hitting streak coming in. She was 3 for 8 the final 3 games of the series against the Monarchs.
Hitters count coming up 3-1.
Brown, a lot like Bryan. If she gets on base, she's the threat to steal. She can go first to third. She can go second to home.
Munoz awaits on deck. Chopper to third. Eccles, fields, fires, and it's off the glove of Espinosa. That would have been a bang-bang call at first base. I think Brown would have beaten that out anyway. Either way, it's a base runner with one out for the Adelitas here in the first inning.
Yeah, I have to see what the official score is going to rule on that, but I have to believe that Eccles, as she's waiting for that chopper to come down, in the back of her mind, she knows that Brown runs well, and maybe that sped her throw up a little bit.
And now Shao visits with the infield here. After the infield base hit by Brown brings up Daisy Munoz. Had a productive series against the Monarchs, 3 for 9 with a double and drove in a pair of runs. With a product out of Buena Park, California. 2 years removed from her college career, wrapping up at Cal State Fullerton.
For a team without a lot of power, Munoz has it.
Yeah, Munoz, you look back at her career as a Titan. At Cal State Fullerton, 228 games, hit 32 homers, and drove in 148.
In the greater LA area, a lot of is made, and rightfully so, about UCLA's program, but right down the road, Cal State Fullerton has a very good softball program.
You've had an up-close and personal look at UCLA's program and their facility before.
Yeah, exactly right. Easton Stadium, there in Westwood. Beautiful campus, but the softball facility is first class. Kind of ivy walls kind of remind you a little bit of Wrigley. Nice neighborhood too, by the way. I think it's a little bit out of yours and my real estate level.
You don't know my financials. 2-1. Munoz, that's out of play with a runner at first base and Brown. Count evens 2-2.
How about the crowd here on this 4th of July? Look down below, and I know walking into the stadium earlier today as we got ready for our production meeting, I had to kind of weave in and out of a bunch of families. A lot of youngsters in attendance.
That girl has 2 souvenirs already.
Hey.
On the ground, Eccles to second for 1, back to first in time for a 5-4-3 double play. And so the reigning champion Texas Smoke with a twin killing to start the game. Eccles, Jefferson, Espinosa. And we go to the bottom of the first. No score here in San Marcos. Starting pitcher tonight for the Adelitas is Chloe Temples, who pitched really well last week. Her first week of professional softball, the product out of BYU. 13 1/3 innings for Temples last week in 3 appearances against the Monarchs. Gave up 5 earned runs and struck out 10. Did start on Sunday. Solid at that start. 6 innings, just 2 runs given up, 5 Ks and no walks. As we look now at the batting order for the Texas Smoke, led off by Janae Jefferson, back with the team after last week, spending time with the national team in Oklahoma City. Silent Rain Espinosa and Morgan Howe also bat for the Smoke here in the bottom of the first inning.
Much like you see from Bryan for Hub City, Jefferson. Classic table setter for the Smoke atop their batting order. See the Adelitas in at the corners. See a lot of that this weekend. Jefferson, tremendous back control. You talk about these athletes who come in with these shiny resumes, backgrounds, and Janae Jefferson, she's certainly in that conversation of among the best in the league.
Nothing into the count. Jefferson, so far in the 2024 season, 3 for 14 with 3 walks drawn. Again, played opening week against the Monarchs, but with the national team at OKC this past week. 0-2 from Temples. And the count runs to a ball and 2 strikes. So again, the top of the inning ended with a 5-4-3 double play turned by the Smoke. For the Adelitas, they hit into 4 double plays last week.
Yeah. Difficult to score runs, right? When, you know, we're already talking about 7-inning games. And, you know, when you keep hitting into double plays, and in fairness to Hub City, you know, lining out shots ending up right at Monarch defenders, and big reason why Adelitas ended up the 400-mile trip back to Lubbock having been swept.
So they did make the drive back to Lubbock after the series, came back to St. Marcus yesterday, or earlier today, I believe. That ball up the middle and a base hit for Jefferson. Leadoff single starts the offense for the Smoke of the series. A runner on and nobody out. It's going to bring up Silent Rain Espinosa.
Yeah, Jefferson, a veteran hitter, pulls her hands in. Despite doing so, right through the box, a line shot, and Jefferson behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes, no panic. Trust her hands. Good job.
Now the 2-hole hitter, Espinosa. That rolls away. An extra base now for Jefferson on her way to seconds. The Smoke coming off a 4-game sweep of their first road series of the year at Coastal Bend. Out to a 7-1 start this season. They won the opener on Thursday, 4-2. Then they run ruled the tidal wave on Friday. And that was a pretty special game. The Smoke 3 homers, doing so on owner Brandon Phillips' birthday last week.
Yeah, and then just wrapped up that series. You know, the train kept on going, 5-3 in Game 3, and on Getaway Day, Sunday, 9-1 run rule victory over Coastal Bend. So yes, in case you're wondering, the Smoke come in on a roll.
A really cool moment, too, for the franchise early this week. July 2nd, just a couple of days ago, was officially named Texas Smoke Day in the state. Had a picture taken at St. Marcus City Hall.
Yeah, congratulations to the Smoke. Quite an honor.
Espinosa now had 3 balls and no strikes. The Smoke again opened the year with a 4-game series against the Texas Monarchs, and one of those games was that 13-inning, 4-hour marathon. Espinosa, big reason why. The game-tying hit with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, and when you think about the standings where they sit right now, Smoke atop the league at 7-1 and the Monarchs at 5-3. You flip that outcome, and you have a tie atop the standings.
4-pitch walk to Espinosa. And that'll lead to a visit in the circle with Temples and her teammates. We put a lot of traffic on the bases for this lineup, Bill. It could lead to some crooked numbers and some big innings if the Adelitas not the right way.
Yeah, if you want to put together the formula for Hub City to be successful tonight and this weekend, certainly you have to come up with the big hit offensively, but when the Smoke are up to bat, there are enough sticks in this lineup that the Smoke can generate enough offense on their own. However, when you start adding the free bases, when you start adding wild pitches, miscues defensively, and so on, you really make your difficult job even harder.
Again, Temples pitched really well last week against the Monarchs. The 2 batters in, a base hit and a walk here. Speaking of cool moments, for Temples herself, just yesterday, July 3rd, was named as the Big 12 Scholar Athlete of the Year. Tremendous in the circle for the Cougars, also in the classroom, a 3.99 GPA, studying microbiology.
Yeah, and so when you come into the stadium like we did earlier and you see all these kids here, you know, this is the future of the game of softball. These are the kind of athletes you want those kids to emulate, to look up to. So congratulations to Temples and that achievement.
Strike one to Morgan Howe, the 3-hole hitter for the Smoke. From Poway, California, played college softball at both Arizona State and Fresno State. A player that's now 26 years old.
A big part of the Smokes championship season a year ago. And there are a lot of returning faces in that Smoke dugout, right in this lineup.
You mentioned Howe and just how instrumental she was to the run of the title last year, the Offensive Player of the Year in the league. Hit .342, drove in 31s that led the WPF last year, and homered 7 times.
In this league, Hub City, Smoke, it matters not who you're talking about. There's a championship pedigree. All of these athletes have won a lot of games, but you know, the Smoke, they've done it in this league collectively, and there's some confidence that comes from that.
Pitch just off the plate, a ball and 2 strikes to Howe with Charlotte Eccles winning on deck. Howe hit well in this ballpark. Opening week against the Monarchs was 5 for 11 in that series.
You just get no rest if you're a pitcher. If you're a defense, you get no relief. 1 through 9, the Smoke, they can all swing it.
2 on, nobody out. Fouled away again by Howe.
All the teams in the WPF, you know, there aren't many holes in the lineups, but with the Smoke batting order, let's be honest, let's be real here. You know, it's just at a different level right now. The way they've started this 2024 season offensively, and they're not a one-trick pony. They can pitch it and they can field it as well.
Howe pops it up to the shortstop, Brocky. That's good for the innings, first out.
Howe kind of in protect mode there, of course, with 2 strikes. Good execution on the pitch by Temples as she has to go back to her towel again. It is a warm Independence Day here in San Marcos. 98
degrees at first pitch. Temperatures here in Texas have been in the upper 90s, triple digits all summer long. As Eccles steps up.
You say there's no wind chill?
No. Strike 1 to Eccles. She's had a good start to this 2024 year. Walk-off base hit against the Monarchs in that marathon game a couple of Saturdays ago. Had a 2-run homer against the Tidal Wave in Game 2 of that series last week.
Short, compact swing.
That ball headed towards the gap in left center. It's down for a base hit. Jefferson's going to score. To the plate, makes it a 1-0. Eccles delivers again, and the Smoke the early lead over the Adelitas here in San Marcos.
Yeah, right on cue. Again, Eccles, not a lot of moving parts to this swing. Look at that. Knob to ball, line drive, opposite field. And that's repeatable. That swing, Eccles has been doing that a long, long time. Again, not a lot of moving parts, not a lot that can break down.
And that is good for a double for Eccles. 1-0 Smoke on top. And now the 5th batter of the inning comes up, Savannah Jaquish, with runners at second and third.
And that opening weekend against the Monarchs, the Smoke didn't have a hotter hitter than Jaquish.
Yeah, that series, a homer, 3 doubles, drove in 4. In fact, all 4 RBI came in the season opener.
Yeah, she was really, really good. There's a look at Eccles, who we've already mentioned. Her fingerprints are all over this start of the season for the Smoke.
You know, we've referenced that season opening series for the Smoke a couple of times now when they opened the year against the Monarchs. Very offensive. In that 4-game series, 35 hits, 13 for extra bases, 9 doubles, and they homered 4 times.
Yeah, that's why you have to eliminate the walks, the hit batters, the miscues in the field defensively. It just adds to your problem.
That ball line to the shortstop, Brocky. Only the one out as Eccles gets back in time. A hard hit out. Retires Jake Wish, and now 2 down.
If you asked me right now, and we're not even a third the way through the season, the thing that I've been most impressed by from all of the teams we've seen has been the defense. Sure, we've seen really good offense. Yeah, we've seen really good pitching. But the way these teams can flash the leather has been nothing short of amazing.
Brings up Jazz Hill with 2 on and 2 out. Hill hitting .312 so far this year. A couple of doubles and a home run of her own. That homer was a grand slam a couple of weeks ago against the Monarchs.
Think about that. You have Jazz Hill in the 6 hole.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, a player with the Aggies this year hit .321, drove in 41.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
But also tremendous play discipline as you see her ahead here 2-0. With the Aggies this year, drew 42 walks, double the amount of times she struck out.
Of course, she led Texas A&M into Austin and almost got the Aggies to Oklahoma City. Won the opener of that 3-game set, or best 2 out of 3 set, won the opener, and then Texas had to fight tooth and nail to eliminate Texas A&M and move north up to Oklahoma City for the World Series.
Yeah, game 2 was an extra inning affair, won by the Longhorns, who went on to play in the World Series Finals.
Hill, a big contributor for A&M.
Off the plate, 3-1. That year with the Aggies, they're only 1. Before that, 4 years in Tempe at Arizona State. Eccles at second base. Espinosa at third. Right down the middle, strike 2.
Last weekend from Temples, we saw her, she's a strike thrower. Moves the ball around. There were times last weekend where she was virtually unhittable. And that is a good Monarchs lineup, as you and I are well aware.
Does Hill get something to hit here in a full count at first base open? She does. That ball drilled to left center, belted and gone. 3-run homer, Jazz Hill. 4-0 Smoke all over the Adelitas early in game 1 of the series.
3-2 pitch. Temples challenged her, and Hill was up for the challenge.
Well, I was saying it right before that pitch. First base open, good hitter coming up. Didn't want to groove one down the middle, and she did.
Yeah, I think Temples took a little bit off it, but Hill was on it. My goodness.
Hit 9 homers with the Aggies this year. She's now hit 2 as a member of the Smoke. It is 4-0, reigning champs on top.
I wonder what Hill has to do to move up the batting order. Right.
Now tonight's starting pitcher, Samantha Shao. Strike 1 from Temples. Something we've seen the Smoke do is jump on opponents early in games.
Yeah, the mark of a good team, right? And it's relentless what the Smoke can do. But again, you know, it's all phases. The Smoke right now are playing so well. I said it a couple weekends ago. You wondered maybe would there be a little bit of a letdown or the distraction of being the defending champs. You know the Smoke have a target on their backs. playing really well right now.
They may have a target, but that bullseye is really small. 2 balls, 1 strike to Shao.
You know, Temple's got to 2 strikes on Hill, and you know the mindset of a competitor, of a pitcher, of an athlete, right? Yeah, I have confidence that I can get this done. And she did try to take a little bit off it, but again, you're matched up against a really good hitter, and Hill clearly put a good swing on it. And no rest for the weary. Now you have Shao up there, and yeah, Shao, she's an excellent hitter as well.
Count evens 2-2.
Originally, by the way, when we got the original lineup, Shao was listed as the DP, a role we've seen her take on so far this year when she's not in the circle.
But yes, an excellent two-way player.
Did tremendous things up in Stillwater for Oklahoma State.
There's a fly ball to center. Bryan going back at the warning track as Shivan makes the catch. And a long fly ball ends the inning. But 4 score in the first for the Smoke. The big hit, Jazz Hill, a 3-run jack to left center. Her second home run this season with the champs. And the Smoke are on top of the Adelitas 4-0 here in San Marcos. Well, Jazz Hill likes first innings here in San Marcos. A couple of weeks ago on a Friday night here at Bobcat Softball Stadium, hit a first inning grand slam. Tonight, a first inning 3-run homer. And with that, the Smoke on top 4-0 as we go to the top of the second inning. And Samantha Shao, an early advantage in the circle as she takes the circle for a second frame. And she'll face middle part of the order here for the Adelitas, Lopez, Brocky, and Flores.
And more than one softball coach in the history of the game has told their team when you're down, you know, don't go up there thinking you're going to hit a 4-run homer. And that's the approach the Adelitas have to take here is, you know, get on base, pass the baton, let your teammate go to work. Something Hub City wasn't able to do this past weekend against the Texas Monarchs.
Swing and a miss, strike 1. Happy to say that Peyton Lopez now has a jersey number. Last week was wearing kind of a generic jersey, team t-shirt without a number, but has it today, the number 80 on her back.
And I'm happy as well, but you know, the fact that she didn't have a number last week, and you and I like to maintain a certain level of anonymity.
Yeah, Bill and Brand are not our real names. Now that said, one of the easier ways we're able to identify Lopez, you see it there, the batting helmet donning her alma mater, her college program, Portland State. Foul away, strike 2.
Because you said that, and because I have available the power of the internet, as the fans scamper for the foul ball, everybody be safe down there. There we go. It's 89 degrees in Portland today.
We call that hoodie weather here in Texas.
Right? Break out the parka. Samantha Shao, talk about the Adelitas and what they're going to try to do offensively. Well, Shao, who was already a strike thrower, is really going to be laser focused now on pounding the strike zone.
That ball's hit well towards center. On the run, the catch is made by Anna Marie Bruni. Read the ball really well, got on her wheels and tracks it down for a long first down.
Remember what I said earlier, that the Smoke, good offensively, good pitching, but they have the defensive piece as well. And you said it there, Bruni gets on her horse. Tremendous job of running that ball down.
Nobody on, what away for McKenna Brocky. And the Adelitas shortstop looks at strike one. Well, how about the numbers for Shao in this ballpark as a pitcher? 17 in the thirds now, ERA 0.81. Just 2 earned runs given up.
Back in 19 as a senior at Oklahoma State, 22-10 record, a 3.01 earned run average against top shelf collegiate competition, and in her pro career has been marked by success.
1 ball, 1 strike to Brocky. Swing and a miss. Rise ball. Well thrown by Shao. Strike 2.
Shao kind of set the tone for the way she's pitched so far this season. In the season opener, 7 innings, was a winning pitcher, gave up just 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. That's the kind of pitcher she is.
Bruni getting in her steps in center field here in this inning. There's the catch for the second out. 2 down will bring up Casey Flores.
Bruni representing the Keystone State. These players from all over. Bruni from Schwenksville, Pennsylvania. That's northwest suburb of the city of brotherly love, speaking of Independence Day.
Yeah.
Over there near Philadelphia. Flores had a good day on Sunday, albeit a 2-0 loss against the Monarchs. Flores had a hit, got on a couple of other times via free pass.
Wound up walking 3 times in that series.
Had the 2 big errors in game 2 of that series. A couple of throws trying to get force plays at second base and not quite able to complete the plays. Good looking player though. Big piece of Hub City's 2024 season. If the Adelitas are going to have success, I predict that Flores, she'll be a part of it.
Talked about the win opening day for the Adelitas. It was Flores, the walk-off 3-run homer in the 8th inning against the Tidal Wave back in Lubbock. Off the plate, 3-1.
Good eye there. Take that pitch off the outside corner.
Relayed this story last week. She and Savannah Wasaki, teammates for the Adelitas, teammates, roommates together at Lubbock Christian University, the Division II program. And both hailing from El Paso. Swing and a miss. Strike 2.
El Paso, that's, the state of Texas. That's what, 6 hours, 6-hour drive west of here.
They were also teammates together in high school. I think you said they both won the same numbers as well, the whole journey.
22 and 23.
Yeah. Didn't see Wasaki last week. 3-2 is a miss, and that is the first walk given up by Shao.
So it was illustrated in one at-bat, the fact that Flores, a very good eye. Brandt said a weekend ago against the Monarchs, Flores did a tremendous job of controlling the strike zone, and Samantha Shao, not something she's accustomed to, giving up the free pass. We've seen Shao go to that rosin bag at the back of the circle a number of times on this warm day.
Now to the plate, Emily Bracamonte. Bracamonte from Hacienda Heights, California. Really cool moment for her. This year, her final one in college at Toledo. First year, 3 years before that at Central Michigan, also in the MAC. But when she went into the portal, decided to transfer, does so to a conference rival, but to play for her sister. Jessica Bracamonte is the head coach for the Rockets. How often do you see that? Your sister as your head coach.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water, right? I wonder what the recruiting conversation was like, right?
Don't you make Thanksgivings awkward now.
Something to that effect, right? You know, sister calls, and how do you say no?
Yeah.
That is a cool story. And to your question, doesn't happen very often, right?
Swing and a miss, and a strikeout for Shao, her first of the game. The only base runner of the inning for the Adelitas, Casey Flores, and a 2-out walk. Shao, though, the punch shot carries us into the bottom of the second with a smoke on top of Hub City, 4-0. A couple of scoreless innings turned in by Samantha Shao, and a big offensive first inning has put the smoke on top 4-0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning series opener between these two. Game 2 of the series tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Game 3 Saturday at 6, and the finale Sunday at 1. A lot of young fans in attendance. Hoping to catch the city fireworks show after the conclusion of this game as well.
Yeah, staying hydrated, and there was a really good look at the home of Texas State Bobcats softball under the direction of Ricky Woodard. Kudos to the facilities folks here at Texas State. Of course, holiday for them as well. And a tremendous job of getting this field ready for WPF action on this Independence Day.
Maddie Grimm, the leadoff batter here for the Texas Smoke, facing off against Chloe Temples. Again, yes, it is Independence Day, July 4th. Big American tradition for so long has been the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, but you know, some controversy, if you want to call it that, with Joey Chestnut kind of disqualifying himself, with Nathan's hot dogs not being happy with him being a spokesperson for another company. So with that, a new champion this year, Patrick Bertoletti, won the contest earlier today. 58 hot dogs for the contest. Now the women's side, Miki Sudo set a new women's record. She ate 51.
51 hot dogs. And what is the duration, the time limit on that? Do you know?
10 minutes? I
was just going to
sure.
say, isn't it 10 minutes? So that's wolfing down some hot dogs, right? I know
Yeah.
they use water. Sometimes I know I didn't get a chance to catch the action this year, but I've watched it in years past, and they're doing things to hot dogs that I don't think you or I would do.
No pun intended. I can't stomach that. 3 balls, 1 strike to Grimm. Foul back for strike 2.
Grimm has some pop in her bat. Saw Hill take one over the wall in left center in the bottom of the first. Well, Grimm, she can barrel up balls as well. We've seen it from her.
And draws the leadoff walk. Pitch outside, and Grimm is on. The leadoff runner is off with the smoke for his second straight inning, and that is the second walk given up by Temples. That'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, Anna Marie Bruni, here for the smoke.
And for those of you just tuning in or possibly didn't catch any of the action last weekend when Temples was in the circle, Brand, when you and I went over the scouting reports, one of the things that we noted is Temples is deliberate in coming to home plate.
Ground ball up the middle and through for a base hit for Bruni. Another hit for the Smoke, their 4th of the game. And the first 2 are on with the top of the order now coming up for the Smoke.
This is the way the bottom of the first inning started essentially, but in reverse order. Jefferson led off the game with the bottom of the first with a single, and then Espinoza walked, and kind of a carbon copy of what we saw in the first inning. Jefferson can handle the bat very well. Look for the bunt here. And at the corners are the Adelitas.
Again, you mentioned Temple's one that goes after the after hitters, attacks the strike zone. 6 innings her start on Sunday in the finale against the Monarchs. No walks given up, 5 strikeouts for her in that game.
And just wonder maybe a little bit of the pressure of going up against a lineup like this, trying to be maybe a little bit too fine. He's already walked a couple.
Jefferson with the bunt that goes foul. Jefferson from Houston, Texas. Again, played her college softball at UT just up the road. Wrapped up her college career last year. As a junior, helped lead the Longhorns to the Women's College World Series Finals against rival Oklahoma. And again, last week was not with the Smoke. She was with Team USA in Oklahoma City. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Jefferson is looking to bunt on the first 3 pitches of the at-bat, and now you see with 2 strikes on the batter, Adelitas, the corners move back. Of course, it doesn't mean Jefferson, who handles the bat very well, won't bunt in this situation, but I'd be surprised.
That ball drilled towards right center, and that's down for a base hit. Coming around third is Grimm. Jefferson comes through with a double. 5-0 Smoke, and still nobody out in the inning.
Jefferson did the same thing back in the first inning, right? Doesn't matter what the count is. Trust her hands.
And Jefferson 2 for 2 with a double and a run scored. And they're driving in Maddie Grimm. Runner second to third, nobody out. Now to the plate, side of the rain, Espinoza, but a tough start for Chloe Temples. Second time through the order, already 5 runs in. Strike 1 to Espinoza. By the way, we were right. The competition is 10 minutes for the hot dog eating contest.
Thank you very much. Was that from a fan? Or did you do further research? Or was that
Further
Frankie?
research.
Oh, I didn't know Frankie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Joey Chestnut the year before, when he's still part of the contest, ate 62.
62 in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So am I somewhat correct in saying that's a really good play down the left field line in foul territory? Tremendous job by Brown.
Able to track it down for the first out. And we did not see Bruni tagging from third either. Look back at the play here, and Bruni in unfamiliar territory. You know, for the former Southern Miss Golden Eagle, but never played here because her time with the Golden Eagles ended before that program joined the Sun Belt. Makes that play at number 1, and here's Morgan Howe.
Yeah, tremendous running play. So 62 hot dogs in 10 minutes. That's over 6 per minute.
6 per minute.
Yeah, that'll be a no for me. I'm not a huge hot dog fan anyway. I mean, I like hot dogs, but not where I could do 6 a minute.
Wet food doesn't really tempt me, and the fact that you have to dunk those things in water before shoving them down your gullet just doesn't sound very appetizing.
See how with that open stance gets a good look at it.
Chopper to the right side, play to home, and safe is the call. Bruni scores. Got around the tag of Lopez. Bracamonte, aggressive infield defense, but the Smoke get the run, and now it is 6-0.
Everybody watching, everybody here at the stadium, including us, you know what Bracamonte's trying to do there, right? Trying to, of course, cut down the run, but Bruni runs very, very well. Maybe not the top speed on the Smoke roster, but you know, she's playing center field, can run very well, and just great anticipation by Bruni that she had to go to the back part of home plate.
You know, all this trouble for Temples, all the hits given up, couple of walks, would think that the Adelitas would get some activity in the bullpen, but nobody throwing right now. The game was already kind of getting out of reach here with the way that Shao is pitching. It is a 6-0 lead, still just 1 out. The heart of the order is batting. 2-1 for Charlotte Eccles, and for Temples, this task is not getting any easier. Now, all that said, that's going to be it for her. So it appears that Allie Light was already ready to go. And so Light is into the circle, and that is it for Temples. After she pitched so well last week, Bill, just facing kind of a different monster this week in the Smoke lineup.
And the Smoke having really good at-bats, right? That's certainly a part of it. Sometimes you can make good pitches, but a good hitter will put contact on it and get base hits. And I think it's been a mix of all that. And then, yeah, you add the walks, and it's really been a tough mix for Hub City so far in this ball game.
So for Chloe Temples, only an inning and a third on her start. 5 hits to this point, 6 runs given up, all earned. A couple of walks and no strikeouts as Light comes in. Now, we saw Light briefly last week in the series against the Monarchs. She started the opener on Thursday, and she too got hit around. 2 innings in that game, gave up 4 earned runs and was saddled with a loss. But really good stuff at San Diego State, where she wrapped up her career. Hailing from Lexington, South Carolina, a former Arkansas Razorback, 1 year in Fayetteville, then 3 in Southern California, and just helped lead the Aztecs to the NCAA tournament for a 3rd consecutive year. And she was named first team All Mountain West Conference. Light will face Charlotte Eccles, a former Florida Gator, at an RBI double in her first at-bat.
Temples can always come back, and I think a part of the feeling, part of the thinking for Hub City here is Eccles saw what she did her first at-bat in the bottom of the first. Give her maybe a different look here. Try something different. Hub City would dearly love a hard ground ball right at a middle infielder.
Runner goes for second, and now no throw coming home. You saw Brocky, the shortstop, kind of cut off that throw. Wanted to make sure that Jefferson would stay at third, and she did, but Howe does take seconds. Takes out your force play, and now for Eccles, the base hit could drive in 2.
Exactly right, and another sign of a really good team is the ability to run the base paths. Good execution there.
There you go. Base hit will bring in Jefferson. Howe's going to put on the brakes, and now she's going to come home and forcing a run down here. Lopez back to third, and there's a tag put down by Brocky. Kind of surprised at Howe turning from third base, maybe wanted to challenge that Adelita defense, make them make the play. To the credit, they did, and now there's 2 outs.
Yeah, nice job, Brown in left field. I think we'll get another look at it. Brown, the left fielder, does a nice job of coming in on the ball, and I think Howe, they're just reacting a little too late to the stop sign. And once you're in the rundown, you're in trouble against a team playing at this level.
I think officially that was a 7-2-6 put out. Don't see those very often.
No, you don't. Again, Howe having to do it over again obviously wouldn't have rounded third base quite so much, but good recognition by Hub City defensively.
But again, Jefferson did score. It's now 7-0 Smoke on top. The batter, Savannah Jaquish. 7th batter of the inning. Smoke scored 4 in the first, 3 so far in the second.
Jaquish, her first at-bat was a line shot right at Hub City shortstop Brocky for an out. Haven't seen a lot of weak contact from the Smoke either. Any of those hits, where you kind of say, oh, I got lucky if you're a hitter. I got fortunate. That dropped. Seeing eye singles.
And even some of the outs, that we've seen in this game, yeah.
Yeah, loud outs. That's a great point. Jaquish, her line drive back in the first certainly qualifies under that category.
With Jefferson scoring and Howe throwing out the bases, that will finish out the book for Temple's 7 earned runs given up. Tough start for her and the Adelitas in the series opener. 3-1 to Jaquish. Jazz Hill awaits on deck. Popped up to the first baseman Munoz. But another crooked number put up by the Smoke in the second inning. It scored 4 in the first, put up 3 in the seconds, and we head to the third. All Smoke, the champs, on top of the Adelitas. 7-0 here in San Marcos. Seven nothing Smoke on top. Adelita is trying to respond in the third inning for head coach Jamie Juarez. Again, in her first year as the head coach for Hub City, this expansion franchise, headquartered out of Lubbock, on the road in San Marcos for a second consecutive week. Last week played the Monarchs, this week playing the Smoke before getting a chance to return to Hub City in a couple of weeks. 7-0. Smoke on top, 4 runs scoring in the first inning, 3 more in the second. And a healthy lead for Samantha Shaw, who has turned in 2 scoreless innings already.
And you bring up good observation there, Brant, that not only has Hub City been on the road the past 2 weekends, and that's never easy. It doesn't matter, what sport, what team, what have you. But then you're taking on the Monarchs and the Smoke in back-to-back weekends. I can think of easier weekends.
Well, think about this, too. So I said they'll be home again in 2 weeks. Next week, there will be 8 games in San Marcos, doubleheaders of softball, not for the teams, but of softball, next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There are 2 series coinciding with one another. So the Smoke will host Coastal Bend in a 4-game series. The other series will be a rematch of what we saw last week, the Adelitas and the Monarchs here. So it will be again going back to Lubbock Sunday, back to San Marcos next Thursday.
Yeah, almost just put it on autopilot, right? Put on the cruise control and kick back.
I think by now, if you're the bus driver, you've memorized all the turns and
each
exits.
mile marker.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of mile markers between here and Lubbock, Texas.
How many Bucky stops is that, do you think?
Are there any Bucky's?
There has to be.
Right. Free promotion, by the way. You're welcome, Bucky's. But are there any between here, out that way?
There just has to be, right, in this state?
Let me get with Frankie.
All right. Perry grounds that foul. Count remains 2-2. Justice Perry, the DH for the Adelitas, batting in the 8th spot today for Hub City. Should be followed by Adriana Ramirez and Sierra Bryan. As you look at Jace Marie Fernandez and that patriotic look in the Adelitas dugout. Again, happy Independence Day to everybody watching tonight on the official WPF YouTube channel. Count fills 3-2.
Yeah, no Bucky's out that way, partner. You would be in big, big trouble.
Wow, not a single one.
Yeah, up north towards the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, up the I-35 corridor, and, of course, over in the greater Houston area. There are a bunch, and elsewhere.
Leadoff walk to Perry. Second walk given up by Shao. Leadoff hitter is off for the first time for the Adelitas tonight. So, yeah, you go from San Antonio to Houston, you're going to run into 4 of them at least. Now, you go from San Antonio to Dallas, I don't know, 9, something like that. But none from here to Lubbock. That's incredible.
Yeah, you're kind of on your own. It's that old school fill up the cooler, throw the kids in the back, pedal to the metal.
All right, so what? A Loves?
Oh, yeah, there are those.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Again, you're welcome to the folks at Loves. A meeting here just to kind of let Shao reset.
Veteran catcher Savannah Jakewish, I beg your pardon, behind the plate. Has been playing pro softball since 2017. Her second year with this franchise. Has also played with Athletes Unlimited, the NPF, National Pro Fast Pitch League, and spent a lot of time as a coach as well. Knows the game in and out.
There's a catcher having an understanding of that relationship between pitcher and catcher. And I give credit to the Smoke in this as well. Even though they're up 7-0, they want to stay focused on the task at hand and play that next pitch. You have to have that ability, if you're a really good player, to ignore the scoreboard as appropriate and lock in on the next pitch, the next play.
A team playing for a 5th straight win, and again trying to maintain a 2-game lead over the Monarchs for first place. The Monarchs this week on the road, taking on Coastal Bend out in Corpus Christi.
Coastal Bend hosting back-to-back weekends before making their way up here to San Marcos for next weekend's doubleheader extravaganza.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Ramirez. And strikes out. Goes down swinging. A ball down to the zone. Second strikeout for Shao. And that's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, ran that pitch down and in, caught that inside corner, and 2 strikes. Of course, Ramirez trying to protect, fight that off, and unable to do so.
Now to the top of the order to Sierra Bryan. Backs out of the way, takes ball 1.
Bryan slid up to the front of the batter's box, saw that top hand slide up the bat handle. Brian can hit it out of here, or she can bunt one up either line. Tremendous offensive player, once upon a time Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year.
At Louisiana, her head coach, Jerry Glasgow, we talked about this a few times in our coverage of the WPF season. Jerry Glasgow leaving Louisiana, taking over as head coach at Texas Tech, which, as we all know, is headquartered in Lubbock. As Bryan takes a pitch outside 2-1. So Sierra Bryan and her former head coach kind of reunited a bit. Hub City, they're headquartered in Lubbock as well, and she was very happy to see Jerry Glasgow get the Texas Tech job. She was first recruited by Jerry Glasgow. She hits a ground ball here. Great backhand by Jefferson. The throw to first, not in time, but the force play is good for the second out. Getting back to Bryan and Jerry Glasgow, first recruited her when she was 12 years old. So knows him really well and glad to be reunited with him once again in Lubbock.
You fans who love defense, how about that backhand on the short hop by Jefferson? That is why she was in Oklahoma City last weekend, because of plays like that. Bent her knees, got low, kept her eyes behind the ball. 99 out of 100 second baseman. Good luck making that play.
Brings up Destiny Brown with a runner on and 2 outs. 7-0 Smoke on top. Brown, an infield single, is the only hit the Adelitas have in this game.
You mentioned Coach Glasgow, you mentioned Texas Tech, and there's a good look at the Adelitas uniform, black, red, and white. I wonder if that's a tip of the cap to the hometown Texas Tech Red Raiders.
I hadn't thought of that. As we saw the uniforms last week from the Monarchs, one of the alternates they wore said San Marvelous on them.
Love them. Anybody from the Monarchs organization listening in, Brant and I, we would say yes to a jersey.
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to speak for you there, partner.
No, you did. You did. But in this case, I'm good with it.
Shao again goes to that rosin bag. It's toasty here. Look down in the seating bowl, a lot of the fans with beverages in hand.
That ball lined to right, and that is a base hit. Bounces off the wall and foul ground. Running third is Bryan. Play to the plate, and she runs out of the base path. She's out, tagged down by Jake Wish to end the inning. Great hit, better play made by Morgan Howe in right field. Look at the cannon on Howe. Getting this right on target to Jake Wish, gunning down the speedy Sierra Bryan. And with that, the shutout remains intact for Samantha Shao. We head to the bottom of the third inning. Smoke pitching a shutout, leading 7-0 over the Adelitas here in San Marcos. We go to the bottom of the third inning. 7-0 Smoke on top. Got a great defensive play for the Smoke to end the top half of this inning as Jazz Hill leads off. Bill and I were kind of talking about it during the break. You think about the circumstances with 2 outs. Sierra Bryan, the runner, is going to leave on contact. And with her speed and where that ball was hit, you thought it was a guaranteed run to score. But instead, the ball took a great bounce off the wall from Morgan Howe. And her throw to home was perfect to her catcher, Savannah Jaquish. And with that, the shutout remains intact.
Textbook. As I watch Bryan round second, and we've seen Bryan play a lot, as she rounded second and I'm seeing ball in corner, I'm thinking it's a foregone conclusion. There was no yellow light at third base. She was coming. She was coming in to score, and it was an absolute training film, exhibition on how to execute the throw in from the outfield. And you and I said it during the break, Howe got a really good bounce off the wall in that right field corner.
Well, look at Jazz Hill, by the way, a ball in on her hand, somehow able to jam that into center field for a base hit. You're the Adelitas right now.
Yeah.
You know, you think, man, if they're getting base hits like that, we can't score on a ball that we hit towards the corner. Now, this is going to be a really tough series if the ball doesn't start bouncing our way.
Yeah, but you can't, we mentioned it earlier, you can't try to hit a 6-run homer either, and you've got to somehow lock in and focus on playing the next pitch. And as you look around the field, as you look at these rosters, these are winning players. They have that winning mindset, and they understand the task at hand.
This is the second inning of relief for Allie Light, relieving the starter Chloe Temples. This past season that just ended about 6 weeks ago, give or take, for Lights at San Diego State. Went 12-9 in the circle, had a 2.76 ERA and more than 124 innings of work. And the count runs to 0-2 here to Shao.
You go back to that inning-ending play at the top of this inning, and so I just had this thought. As surprised as you and I were, and the fans in the stadium were kind of, you heard the oohs and ahs, how surprised must Bryan had been coming down that third baseline thinking she was going to score. And all of a sudden the ball's there. She hears that distinctive pop.
Meanwhile, Light drops in a nice pitch on the 0-2. Shaw goes down looking. And that's the first out of the inning and the first strikeout for a Adelita pitcher in this game.
Yeah, right at the knees on that outside corner. And a nice job behind the plate and making sure they got the call. Nice job by Lopez, the catcher. What must that do for Light's confidence to be able to retire her counterpart on a punch-out?
Now Maddie Grimm, pro veteran, playing pro softball since 2017. Batting here with one out. Grimm from Stallstown, Pennsylvania, speaking of the Keystone State. Played her college softball at Kent State, but her senior year nearly transferred to Kentucky, was on the verge of going to Lexington, had a conversation with her Kent State head coach and said, look, bottom line, do you like it here? And she went home to think more about that and said, you know what, the grass is not always greener. Decided to come back and wound up being named as a Max Player of the Year that senior season.
Yeah, and that's something that coaches across the college athletics landscape are talking about, is not only recruiting new players, not only keeping your eye on the transfer portal, but at times you also have to re-recruit your existing players. So that's a great example of it, and a tremendous happy ending to Grimm's time there at Kent State.
Takes a strike. It is 3-1. Kent State's all-time leader in homers and RBI. And here facing Allie Light in the bottom of the third inning, a runner at first base and one out.
You and I know of the success stories when student athletes transfer from one program to another, but we've also seen the other side of it.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't work out for whatever reason.
And sometimes, you know, fans get really excited when you're at a mid-major or a lower level Division I and somebody comes in from the Power 5 level. And you think they're going to come in and dominate, but that's not always the case.
No, not at all.
And that's high for a walk. So Grimm is on. She walks for the second time. 2 on, 1 away, and it brings up Anna Marie Bruni.
Bruni's had a nice play defensively in this game. Came back early on in the ball game and has also singled and scored a run.
Do want to note a defensive change for the Adelitas, a couple of them in fact. So Sarah Bryan was streaking around the bases trying to score, and the top of the inning was thrown out. Maybe something happened. I say this because she's no longer in center field. Now in center is Destiny Brown, who had been in left. So Brown is now in center field, and Justice Perry has moved to left. Perry had been the DH. Now she's in left field for the Adelitas. So changes in both left and center, and Sarah Bryan out of the game right now.
Yeah, we didn't see anything that happened at home plate. Didn't see anything that happened at home plate, but maybe as she tried to put on the brakes or something, could have tweaked something.
Meanwhile, Anna Marie Bruni batting here. Single to score to the second inning. Counts 2-1. Runners first and second base, and 1 out. Game so far, all smoke. An experienced team. 12 of the team's 20 rostered players have played the WPF before, and a bulk of those now wearing championship rings. Back with the smoke after their title season a year ago.
And so what you just explained to our audience, Brant, is a lot of these players on the smoke, they understand the pro game, the difference between the resources you have available at the college level versus the pro level.
Light doesn't have a play meanwhile. Infield base hit for Bruni, her second hit. And the bases are loaded. You said it, Bill. You know, a lot of these players, you mentioned the resumes, you know, are rich and full of all-conference, all-American, home run program leader, RBI leader, whatever the case may be. But that's every player now, you know, on these rosters kind of thing. The playing field has been leveled.
It has, and there's a lot more personal responsibility in terms of training, nutrition, hydration, travel, schedules. You know, the list goes on, and it's a big jump for these rookies. And there are a number of very, very, very talented rookies in the WPF, but, you know, they're kind of learning the things that Jaquish and Howe and Eccles and Chow and all these other players, it's pretty much become common knowledge for them.
1 ball, 1 strike to Jefferson, working on a 2-for-2 opener so far, a single and a double. A couple of runs scored and an RBI. Batting here with the bases juiced.
What is it that the kids say nowadays? Adulting?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these smoke players, they've been doing the pro softball adulting thing for many years.
You know what's funny about that? I think adults say adulting. I don't think kids say that.
Well, thank you for saying old people.
Younger adults say adulting.
Okay.
Not people, I guess, of your generation.
Thank you. You're not that far from my generation. But bases loaded here. Big moment for Light.
2-1. Jefferson with a fly ball to center. Brown going back. It's over her head. Bounces off the wall. Going to bring it a couple of runs. Extends the lead to 9-0. Another double for Jefferson. 3 hits today. And the rout continues for the reigning champs here in San Marcos.
Hey, Jefferson, look at that. Textbook. Kind of a little bit of a hesitation there as she gets ready to round first base. Nothing at all the new center fielder Brown could do. Going to get another change in the circle for the Adelitas, because you understand the coaching staff for Hub City, you don't want to use up all of your pitching here in game 1 of a 4-game set against the defending champs.
Yeah, that is it for Allie Lights. And the new pitcher into the game now for the Adelitas, Liv Gray from Woodland, Washington. We didn't see Gray last week in the series against the Monarchs. From Michigan State, 1 season in East Lansing. Before that, 4 years at Portland State. So a former teammate of Peyton Lopez, who serves as her catcher now. Gray in her final season in the Big Ten with the Spartans. This year, 2024, 2.41 ERA, 168 strikeouts, 10th most in Michigan State history, and was top 40 in the country in strikeouts per 7 innings. And getting in some work here with the team down 9. Runners second to third, 1 out, and the third pitcher the Adelitas have used tonight.
Yeah, Gray's got the accolades. First team All Big Sky. Once upon a time, knows how to win, won a couple of state championships there at Woodland High School in the great state of Washington. But here, a big task at hand with Espinoza, Howe, and possibly Eccles on the horizon.
Again, what a game for Jefferson. Leadoff batter with the Smoke. Welcome back to the team, huh? Last week at OKC, and today 3 for 3, couple of doubles, 3 RBI her night.
Yeah, as you and I both followed the series between the Smoke and Coastal Bend, and we noticed a couple of the games it looked like the Smoke struggled for them, what would be considered struggled a little bit in a couple of games, and kind of wondered why, and then you go, oh yeah, Jefferson wasn't there.
Yeah. Scratched across a 4-2 win on Thursday, 5-3 win on Saturday. But the other 2 wins, yeah, lopsided in their favor, 12-4 and 9-1.
Yeah, without Jefferson being a part of it. But Chia has put together, has Jefferson 3 really good at-bats tonight. Great way to get an important 4-game series started because the Monarchs are nipping at the heels of the Smoke.
Strike 1 to Silent Rain Espinoza, 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored for the Smoke. Facing again Liv Gray. The 7th former Spartan to go on to play pro softball, and just a second over the last 10 years. That ball ripped to the second baseman, Bracamonte. Line drive for out number 2. Both runners hold up.
Sometimes you find grass, sometimes you hit it right at him. Not much more Espinoza could have done there. Now big 2-out RBI opportunity here for Howe.
Half of the game 0 for 2. You know, something we've talked about a lot in our first 2 weeks of coverage is, you know, teams' inability to capitalize with runners on. Not the case with the Smoke tonight, with runners on base 7 for 14, in scoring position 6 for 12.
Exhibit A, right, on how to win a game. And a reason that the Smoke were collecting rings, championship rings, a couple of weeks ago.
And Gray ahead of Howe, 0-2. The Smoke sent 7 to the plate in the first, 7 in the second, and guess what? This is batter number 7 of the third.
You just put that constant pressure on the opponent, on the opposition. Makes things so much easier for your pitching and your defense, right? When you have a little bit of wiggle room. You know you do not have to be perfect, although that's the goal.
You know, I wonder, with the lead being what it is, you know, Shao has pitched really well, but maybe you want to keep a little bit more gas in her tank. Do you consider, if you're Kat Tarvin, the Smokes head coach, of making a pitching change just to give somebody else some work and you can keep something in the reserve for Shao?
Possibly. It's a luxury Coach Tarvin has, because you look at the pitching lineup for the Smoke, stars everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shao, because of her experience and clearly her ability, she'd be considered the number 1 on that pitching staff, but it's not like there's a huge drop-off, right?
Yeah, you got Jayla Wright, the ACC Pitcher of the Year at Duke this year. Autumn Pease, last year's WPF Pitcher of the Year. Jessica Mullins in her home ballpark at Texas State, Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year, and among the nation leaders in wins and innings pitched this season. And Jordan Dale, who who's one of the best pitchers in Oregon Ducks history.
Not bad options.
Yeah.
So your question, I'd be all in. Not that Coach Tarvin's looking for my opinion. She's much smarter than that. But, yeah, with this kind of advantage, maybe so. Because you never know, right? Tomorrow's a new day. When we get to the ballpark tomorrow, the score will be 0-0. Hub City's going to pick up some runs overnight, figuratively. And so, yeah, you never know when there will be a situation where you need Shao to get the ball again. We know this, with the type of competitor she is, she'd be ready to take the ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on and 2 outs. 9-0, all Smoke. Swing at a foul tip, strikeout. So Gray with the first strikeouts of the night, and that'll do it for the Smoke in the third. But 2 more runs score. Today, Jefferson drives in 2 with a double. Gray ends inning with a punch shot, and we have played 3. We head to the fourth. It is 9-0, Smoke on top. What a beautiful July 4th night here in San Marcos, Texas. City fireworks show coming up a little bit later tonight here in San Marcos, located just south of the state capital of Austin, Texas. We head to the top of the 4th inning with the fans getting their money's worth for this pre-fireworks entertainment. 9-0 Smoke on top of the Adelitas in game 1 of this 4-game series. First time these two franchises ever meeting. They will meet twice more this year. Again in 2 weeks for a 4-game series in Lubbock. And again in San Marcos in the first week of August. Samantha Shao, we were wondering, would she be back out there or not? She is, with a 9-0 lead.
And maybe this is Coach Tarvin telling us and everybody else that, you know, Shao's warmed up. She's got the lead, doing a great job in the circle. I have tremendous depth in the pitching staff. This is Coach Tarvin talking. And so she's like, we'll let Shao complete the game, finish it out.
Shao's been invested in the game for so long. Played at 2 tremendous programs, one of the SEC, one of the Big 12, A&M, Oklahoma State, respectively, with both the Aggies and Cowgirls playing in the Women's College World Series. In her second year with this franchise, and earlier this year, spent time playing in Japan. We talk about being dedicated to your craft, playing the game almost year-round.
For Hub City, this is a tremendous part of the order for the Adelitas to get something going with Munoz, Lopez, Brocky, and then Flores would come up.
Line foul. Munoz hit into a 5-4-3 double play back in the first inning. Count even here, 2-2.
Kind of like the script that Hub City followed this past weekend in getting swept by the Monarchs. Hub City, they've gotten a runner on each inning. It's just not stringing things together. and not getting the long ball. Sometimes that's an answer for a team. Okay, if we can't string hits together, let's blast one deep. And Adelitas, first it was Monarchs pitching, and tonight through 3+ Shao, where the Adelitas can't clear the wall either.
In the series last week, Hub City homered just once.
Yeah.
And
that's not enough for an offense struggling.
It was a Sierra Bryan solo homer. Munoz strikes out, punch out number 3 for Shao. First out of the inning. Meanwhile, the Smoke have had 4 extra base hits in this game, to include a 3-run homer and 3 doubles. Munoz is 0 for 2. One away. In the 4th, it brings up Peyton Lopez.
And there Shao demonstrates what all great pitchers do. You get 2 strikes on a hitter, and if the hitter's willing to get themselves out by expanding the strike zone, you let them. You don't have to throw one middle with 2 strikes, right?
Quickly, 0-2 to Lopez, who's 0 for 1.
How often do you watch, let's change things up to, let's say, basketball. Basketball, you see one player hit a couple of shots, all of a sudden a teammate hits a couple of shots, and then another. I think right now Hub City's in that mode where they're really struggling offensively, and instead of passing that baton of confidence, they're passing that baton of question mark.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Every team goes through it. Even the Smoke, at some point in 2024, maybe the offense will struggle at some point.
Haven't seen it a lot their first 8+ games into the year. But the one pitcher that's had success against them for an extended stretch is Lopez. Slaps a base hit to right, and she's off for the first time. Jaden Vickers, starting pitcher for the Monarchs, in the finale of that series against the Smoke on opening weekend. Complete game, 7 innings, struck out 9, and held this offense to just 2 runs.
Yeah, Vickers was exceptional that night. Had some help defensively. Team scored some runs.
With the tip of the cap to Aspen Wesley as well. Now, Wesley, unlike Vickers, didn't get a win. But in a relief appearance, a couple of them, especially in that 13-inning marathon in which she threw the final 8 2/3, the Smoke only got 2 runs against her. Jam shot that goes foul, and the count to Brocky 0-2.
At the end of the year, when you and I and others put together what we consider our all-star team, I don't know how many pitchers we'd be allowed to have on that team. But right now, at this point of the season, what we've seen so far, I'd give Aspen Wesley serious consideration.
Definitely.
For being maybe not the pitcher, but if there were 4 or 5, absolutely.
Well, Bill was talking about runs in basketball. You string together a couple of baskets in a row, a couple of hits back-to-back here, Lopez and Brocky. And so for the first time, some real pressure against Shao with a couple of base runners here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, no activity in the Smoke bullpen down in that left field corner. If there's been one hitter over the last game plus who has really swung a good bat for the Adelitas, it's who's standing in the right-handed batter's box right now, Flores.
That's high, ball 1. And Bill said it, Flores drew a walk in her first at-bat, this after drawing 3 in the series against the Monarchs last week.
There was a point in the series this past weekend where the Adelitas were 4 of 23 with runners in scoring position.
There you see Shao to get the sure out at first base. A productive out, though, for Flores will move Lopez and Brocky. If Shao feels that cleanly, though, you might see her take a chance at second base.
And, Flores isn't the most fleet of foot. And the way that Jefferson and or Grimm turned the double play, you're right. It could have been another inning-ending killer for Hub City.
So Jamie Juarez, the head coach for the Adelitas, comes out to visit with Linda Baptiste, our plate umpire. Going to bring in a pinch runner. Flores is going to take the place of Lopez at third.
The catcher let her get her gear on.
That has to be the reason why, as you just said, Flores not exactly fleet of foot, so this really isn't for speed on the base pass. It's more about Lopez getting back into the dugout to put on the gears you referenced. And so that change made it third. The meeting in the circle with the infield and Shao. And the batter here is Bracamonte. Runners second to third, 2 outs, and a chance for the Adelitas to crack the foundation here. Ground ball to the right side. Jefferson makes the play, and the Adelitas strand 2. In the inning, no runs and a couple of hits. Adelitas with some pressure, but Shao still tossing a shutout. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. You're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the official WPF YouTube channel. Kat Tarbin, in her second year on the staff with the Smoke, a year ago the pitching coach for the WPF champions. This year, the head coach for the Texas Smoke, a team out to a smoking 7-1 starts. And in command in this game, 9-0 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And her team potentially 3 outs away from the early exits in the series opener with a run rule in effect. Coming up for her team, in the bottom half of the 4th, hitters 4 through 6, Eccles, Jaquish, and Hill. And again, Kat Tarbin, also the head coach at North Carolina Central, where she just wrapped up her 3rd season as Eagles head coach. The 2023 MEAC Coach of the Year for the Eagles. That year guided the program to its first ever MEAC title.
Looks like Hub City possibly going to make a couple of changes here before we launch the bottom of the 4th inning. Or hydration. A little bit of a hydration break, or looks like maybe the shortstop Brocky got something in her eye. Help me out here, Brant. You played a doctor once.
Well, Brocky does wear glasses. And so looks like she's just trying to get something out of her eyes there. They're the spectacles back on. And
all right.
Going to head back out to her fielding position. Interesting stat that Bill was referencing earlier was the Adelitas' inability to come through with runners on base. This was the case last week in the series against the Monarchs, 3 for 26 with runners in scoring position, 0 for 2 in this game. Had a chance, for the first time tonight, a chance to bring home some runners, but couldn't do so, and as a result, still a donut on the scoreboard, down 9-0.
Speaking of run producers, Eccles has been her MO going back to her career at Florida and certainly in pro ball. She's already been a part of this 9-0 advantage for the Smoke. An RBI double, scored a run in the first, an RBI single in the second. The beat goes on for Eccles.
And again, this is Liv Gray in the circle for the Adelitas. Third pitcher, Hub City, is used. Chloe Temples got the start, gave up 7 earned runs. Allie Light, an inning of relief, gave up 2 earned. And Liv Gray came in relief back in the third and now talks with her catcher, Peyton Lopez. And again, the two former teammates at Portland State, although Gray ended her career with Michigan State this past year.
Brown, the center fielder, has her towel in her back pocket. She came in, offered it to the shortstop Brocky, and now retreats out there. And if you get a look at Brown in center field, she's shaded over towards left center as Eccles has shown the ability to go opposite field.
Now Brown started the game in left, took over in center in the third inning for Sierra Bryan. This after the play where Bryan was thrown out. Now, if you're the Adelitas, you're thinking a little long-term here. You have to hope with Bryan, it's only for this game, and she can come back tomorrow moving forward.
Bryan exiting the game occurred right after she was thrown out, trying to score. Brant and I, the naked eye, and even looking at the replay, didn't see anything where it's not as though Brown went down to the ground. It's not as though there was a hard collision at home plate, but that doesn't mean that something didn't happen when Brown tried to avoid the tag of Jaquish at the plate. All the best to her, of course.
Popped up near the Adelitas dugout. And the ball just not squeezed by Daisy Munoz. Had it in her glove, but couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, Munoz fighting not only the fact there is not a whisper of a cloud that we see directly up above, but also that railing, that wall that extends beyond the first base dugout. You know, not easy, all of that, right? Munoz, in fairness to her, she did have her throwing hand up there, was trying to put the squeeze on the ball.
Eccles this time pops it up to the left side, and Brocky makes this play for the first out.
Yeah, that wasn't routine by any stretch for Munoz. I think everybody got a great look at it from our tremendous camera crew.
So far, Liv Gray facing the heart of the order, 3 up, 3 down. As retired Espinosa, Howe, and Eccles in order. And out of the plate, Savannah Jaquish. And a 9-0 game here in the fourth inning.
What if you had gone up to the Hub City coaching staff before the game and say, okay, the game's in the bottom of the fourth inning, and Howe and Jaquish are a combined 0 for 5.
Well, you think you're pretty good about your prospects, right? But it has been the top third of the order, bottom third, which has really produced for the Smoke here in this game. Not that heart of the order.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And it speaks to the Smoke's ability to generate offense 1 through 9. Put up 9 runs with Howe and Jaquish not being a part of it.
A great vantage point of the train behind the tracks here at Bobcat Softball Stadium. Again, a fixture in this facility. It's a count to Jaquish, 2-1.
Cross-country trains, that's a part of America on this Independence Day.
You use the phrase Chamber of Commerce type days. I've heard you say it a few times. This is that type of day. If you were asking, somebody running a city fireworks show, what type of day would you want? This would be the day.
Relatively low wind. There is a breeze coming out of the south here at Bobcat Softball Stadium. But yeah, Brant, part of the reason that we have so many families here taking this ball game in anticipation of other things to come later tonight. A lot of red, white, and blue down in the seating bowl, as you would expect.
We commented on the crowd today, and a lot of young fans here in attendance. Swing and a miss, strike one. Perhaps some of the fans hoping to get a good vantage point of the fireworks show to come later. But yes, a lot of them donned in red, white, and blue.
Are you a fireworks? I should know this as long as you and I have been around each other. Are you a set off the fireworks in the front yard kind of person?
Grew up in a very rural area. And so the Warren City Fireworks Show was Hill with a fly ball to right, high in the air but not very deep. And Ramirez will make that catch for the second out. So the Warren City Fireworks Shows, if you wanted to see
You were it.
fireworks, you had to go to the, Mr. W or whatever and go buy your own set and set them off, in your yard. That was growing up out in the hill country, not too far from here. Now live in the suburbs. Can't really do that. So now if you want to, for me and my family, if we want to watch them, like the fans here, have to go somewhere to watch, a city or county put on the show themselves.
Oh, they set them off in my neighborhood, and just to be
They
clear,
shouldn't.
just to be clear, in case any authorities are listening in, I'm not out in the backyard setting off fireworks, but some of the neighbors, oh yeah. I don't expect to get any sleep tonight. I'm going to be dragging tomorrow.
That's popped up, and Munoz no play that time. I will say this, though, and every dog owner out there is going to be nodding their heads along with me. This day is a nightmare for dog owners.
I have 2 of them,
Yeah,
and one of them is not a fan.
neither of mine are fans.
Yeah, well, everybody be safe out there. Be responsible.
That ball hit towards center. Brown, long run, leaps and has no play because that is gone. Samantha Shell with a 2-run shot. Second home run for the Smoke tonight.
The home runs for the Smoke as Shao rounds the bases to the glee of her teammates. The home runs have come from the 6 hole. That was Hill in the first inning, and here Shao helping her own cause out of the 7 hole, a 2-run blast.
Well, give Brown credit. She jumped pretty early there and knew she didn't have a play. That ball, again, as Bill described, on a rope to center. Shao playing long ball here, 11-0 Smoke on top. Her final Division I season in Stillwater with Oklahoma State. Her lone season with the Cowgirls set a program record with 20 home runs that year. Oh, and she's also a pretty good pitcher.
A shutout so far, yeah. Yeah, 2-way player, huh?
Maddie Grimm with a pop-up. And the left fielder, Perry, going into the wall, makes the catch to end the inning. And that'll do it for the 4th. But Samantha Shaw with a 2-run bomb has made it 11-0. Smoke perhaps looking for a run rule in the series opener tonight. Samantha Shao with a 2-run, 2-out homer in the bottom of the 4th inning, a no-doubter to dead center field. A 2-run shot, second home run of the day with the Smoke, and with that, an 11-0 lead as we go to the top of the 5th inning, 3 outs away from ending this night early. Playing for a run rule, you need at least an 8-run lead. At the end of 5, and Shao adding some insurance to her own advantage. Shao's been to the circle since the start of the game, and so far 4 scoreless innings. Her defense has played well. She has pitched well. She has hit well, and it has been all Smoke tonight.
And to one of your points there, Brand, about Shao going the distance, we don't know how pitching sets up tomorrow for the Smoke in game 2 of this series. That game tomorrow night, first pitch at 7 p.m. But the point is that her pitching teammates have been able to hang out in that dugout, relax, work on their scouting report, take both physical and mental notes of what they've seen from the Adelitas. So Shao helping her team in numerous ways this evening.
We wonder, you know, with the league getting larger and larger, would Shao maybe be taken out of the game to save some gas in the tank, so to speak? But looks like she's going to try to go all 5 innings, assuming the game, if the game does in fact end early. However, then what that means for Coach Kat Tarvin is that, you know, Dale, Wright, Pease, Mullins, all are fresh moving forward.
100%. Meanwhile, for the Adelitas, I think, and we saw her this past weekend, I believe that Hanley, another lefty, would get the ball. Maybe you'd be tempted to bring Temples back again and say maybe it was just a tough day at the office.
Yeah, none of the Adelitas pitchers overextended. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Incidentally, Perry, an exceptional defensive play to end this last half inning on the sprint over to the wall in foul territory, battling the sun. Made a nice grab to close out the half inning.
You think about the potential of a run rule here is outside of play. For the Smoke, that would be their 3rd over the last 5 games.
Yeah, and you can't do that with that kind of consistency unless you're playing well offensively and defensively. They closed out, did the Smoke at Coastal Bend with a 9-1 win. So get out your calculators. Runs for, runs against.
20-1, dating back to last Sunday.
I think a lot of coaches would take that.
The other series happening this week, Coastal Bend hosting the Texas Monarchs over in Corpus Christi. Try to keep tabs on the series as this one continues. 2-2 pitch, hit to Eccles at 3rd, and 1 out here in the 5th inning. So you look at the WPF standings. The Smoke in first at 7-1. Monarchs in second at 5-3, and both the Adelitas and Tidal Wave 2-6. And there is some separation already being built in the top of the standings in the bottom half. Adriana Ramirez batting with 1 out, nobody on. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Shao so far, 4 scoreless innings, has given up just 3 hits. 3 strikeouts and 2 walks.
By the way, I have a note, and this is regarding the WPF, the league. That series, the Texas Monarchs at Coastal Bend Tidal Wave, tomorrow, Friday, they're playing a doubleheader, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock down there to continue that series after their series opener tonight.
Wondered maybe some bad weather coming into the Corpus area this weekend. 0-2. That's in the dirt. A ball and 2 strikes.
All the best to those in the path of the hurricane. Currently out, headed into the Gulf. I guess here in the next couple of days.
You know, next week, double headers for the 2 series are not an option. That's a miss, 2 balls, 2 strikes, because each series is being played with a 4 o'clock start for game 1, 7 o'clock for game 2. I'm not sure when you could squeeze in a. If you're going to play a doubleheader for one team, for one game, you have probably to do it for both, right?
Move the times up early.
A quadruple header.
Quadruple header.
Struck her out looking. Ramirez down on strikes for a second time, and the Adelitas are down to their final out.
Any parent out there who's ever had a child involved in You know, those youth baseball, youth softball leagues. You remember those days of 2-3 games maybe?
We're wondering about Sierra Bryan, so here's what happened here. Now we could figure it out. So Justice Perry was moved from DH to left field, and Destiny Brown from left to center. What that did was move Bryan from an outfield position to DH. Still in the game, just not in the field. So Bryan, by all accounts, looks to be just fine health-wise at the plate here with 2 outs.
Yeah, great news. She's not only a great player, but a great representative of the Hub City franchise and the WPF as a whole. Couple of games against the Monarchs this past weekend. She was doing amazing things out there with the glove, with the stick, with her feet.
Yeah, looking at her numbers at the plate, 6 for 13. Had a series cycle, a homer, a triple, and a double, along with a couple of singles along the way. And Bryan takes all the way, and that'll extend the game. A 2-out walk. Bryan's off for the first time. That brings up Destiny Brown.
You want to know something about Bryan? Her team is down 11-0 with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. She's walked, and she sprints to first base. Coaches notice that. Fans notice that. Her teammates notice that.
You hope younger players watching take notice of that, too.
100%.
Strike 1 to Brown.
Skill and talent will get you so far, but then something like an attitude like that can take you to another level.
Brown has 2 of the Adelitas' 3 hits, an infield single and a double. That double came with Bryan at first base with 2 outs in the 3rd inning, and you thought Bryan was a no-doubt, or was in a no-doubt situation in which she was going to score. Didn't happen after a great play made by Morgan Howe.
Yeah, that play is going to be a part of the season-ending defensive plays of the year package. I fully expect that, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years from now, you or I will be on YouTube just looking at softball and baseball like we do, and there will be highlights out there, and we'll see that play, and we'll nod remembering that we were here that night.
Meanwhile, Jake Wish calling for an infield meeting here with Shao.
See that perspiration on Shao's arms again. She's gone to the rosin bag, gone to the dirt. She's had her towel out there right on cue.
Right back of the bag.
Look at that. You can see it.
Another hot night here in the Texas Hill Country.
And Shao's trying to spin that thing up there at the rate she is. Needs to have that grip, have control.
Got it right back to her, and that will end the game. And so the Texas Smoke jumpstart this series with a run rule dominating victory over the Hub City Adelitas 11-0. And a big night for Samantha Shao, both in the circle and at the plate, our player of the game tonight for the reigning champions.
I don't know of a more appropriate play to end a game than what we saw right there with the comebacker. And really from first pitch until the end, the Smoke, their excellence was on display here on this Independence Day evening in San Marcos, Texas.
So with that, the Smoke have now won 5 in a row. Meanwhile, for Hub City, they've dropped 5 straight in 7 of their last 8. We'll look to bounce back in Game 2 of the series tomorrow. We'll have it for you, a 7 o'clock first pitch here from San Marcos. So, Bill, again, happy 4th of July to you.
Same to you. All the best to everybody. Be safe out there, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right, so for Bill Colhane, I'm Brant Freeman saying so long from San Marcos, Texas. The final score, the Texas Smoke 11, the Hub City Adelitas 0 in 5 innings. For more information on the WPF, log on to WProFastPitch.com. This has been a presentation of the WPF. Until next time, good night from Bobcat Softball Stadium.